When somebody is victimized, there's generally three different things that happen. There's a lot of different things that happen, but there's three branches that I typically see coming off of somebody being victimized. And these are in no particular order. So the first one is somebody who suppresses that experience and swings the pendulum to the complete opposite end, where what you are seeing on the outside, even if that's not the reality of what's truly going on at the depths inside of them, what you will see is somebody who looks like they have their together, somebody who looks really strong and competent and powerful, but that is an overcompensation for the victimization that they have not actually addressed within themselves and the negative emotions and thoughts and beliefs that are connected to that and traumatic material. Another path that comes off of this is somebody who gets stuck in the victimization, meaning that they're in the powerlessness, they're feeling the despair, they're feeling what it really was like to be victimized and processing that, but not really processing it and completing the cycle. So this typically happens when there is a payoff for staying in the victimization. This could be that there are people around this person that don't want them to step into their power. There could be an internal perceived threat of stepping into their power. It could be that being in that victim role has gotten them some of their needs met, connection. And so in this case, the power or whatever is being covered over essentially by this victimization is not able to express. Or I guess another way to say it is that that person is using their power to deny their own power. And the third thing that I often see happening is that anyone that's been victimized has the potential of blaming themselves. Why do we do this? We do this because we do not want to accept the reality that we did not have control over something. It's as simple as that. You might look back and you might have regret around certain decisions that you make. Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I leave? And a lot of times people will even say, I had an awareness that something was really wrong. But awareness is not the same thing as capacity, resource. It's just not the same thing. If you're a child and there's nowhere else for you to go, you don't have control over what's happening to you. And if you're an adult who's then repeating that situation with a different person or a different situation, you also didn't have the capacity to leave or do something different, or you would have. And I know that in the spiritual world of, we are all responsible for ourselves. I get it. Yeah, we're responsible for our own healing. But taking responsibility for something that you quite literally were not responsible for, it doesn't help you. It doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you more safe. Oftentimes there's an avoidance of something, a deeper emotional or a deeper truth that's being avoided through the illusion of taking responsibility for something that you were not responsible for. Victims of abuse carry so much shame. And instead of the shame going where it belongs, which is to the rightful owner of the abuser, it gets internalized. The shame needs to be placed where it belongs, which is returned to sender. Pretending to be responsible for something that you were not responsible for is a byproduct of the abuse, and ultimately is something that needs to be let go of and softened and worked through. If you are covering over genuine feelings of victimization with a false sense of confidence and competency, eventually that will crumble and you will have to discover what's underneath that, and it's for your own benefit. And if you're stuck in the victim where you're not actually moving through a cycle, but you're looping over and over again, then you've got to ask yourself, what's the payoff for me staying here? What do I think is going to happen? Or what are my beliefs around what's going to happen if I'm no longer in this space of needing healing? If I'm in my sovereignty and I'm in my authenticity, why is that not going to get rewarded? Or what's going to happen, even if it's not what's really going to happen, what am I afraid is going to happen if I'm healthy and well? in really dysfunctional family systems or social systems, that crab mentality of like, that crab is getting to the top of the bucket. Oh no, you're now a threat. You can't get free. Let's pull you back down. When your wellness, your healthy sovereignty becomes a threat to the people around you, that's very dangerous, because that means that they don't want you to get better. And the sick thing, though, I know that there are so many incredible facilitators out there. I also know that there are facilitators who do not actually want their clients to get better. There's parents that don't want their children to get better. There's boyfriends and girlfriends and spouses that don't want their spouse to get better. As soon as you get an inkling like that from somebody, get far the fuck away from them. Far, far, far away. We all deserve to be around people who truly want to see us flourish, because they see us and feel us as a part of themselves. And when we flourish, everybody does as well.